So next up, we are going to have a live recording of Unsecurity's 250th episode. With a unique focus on protecting personal information, Megan Larkins and Brad Nye discuss information security as it pertains to administrative controls, culture, and business as a whole. Megan Larkins is FRSecure's Director of Consulting and has over 15 years of technology and information security experience. Brad Nye is FRSecure's consulting strategist and has 2 decades in the IT and cybersecurity fields. Today, they are joined by previous hosts, Evan Francen, founder of FRSecure, and Oscar Minks, president of FRSecure, for this special 250th episode. Without further ado, let me welcome them up to the stage for this live recording. Come on up. I think we can do better than that. Come on.
This is weird.
Yeah, you're weird.
Not wrong. Oh, welcome everybody for Unsecurity.
Welcome to another episode.
Very strange. So we don't have a topic. We're just going to see how this goes, and we'll start with Evan. And this is 250.
Why is it when we don't have anywhere to go, we start with Evan?
Because we know you're just liable to go anywhere.
And you were the first starting
you and I started, so
podcast.
We could talk about rabbits. Wait, what? Yeah.
So why do we start this, Evan? That was like October, November of
6 years ago,
2018?
we started. So I wanted to do, it wasn't really planned to be a podcast. I just wanted to spend an hour a week talking to you, just to build a relationship. That's another thing about, I think business information security, running a business, it's too transactional when it's supposed to be relational. So I just wanted to establish a relationship with you, and we just started recording our conversations. And
Don't listen to the first few. They're not.
Well, yeah, because we're not
No idea.
We're not podcasters. And so we were doing it on like Zoom calls.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I was using like a $20 headset from Target, with a little microphone thing. It was terrible.
Yeah, not
But
the
then
best quality.
Yeah.
Good content.
And then it got fun. I never really cared about how many people were listening to the podcast. It's like the most things for me. I don't really care. It's supposed to serve this purpose. The purpose was for me to spend an hour a week with you. If somebody else listens to the podcast, great. If somebody else likes it, great. If they don't, great. I get what I got and wanted out of it. And you fast forward to today, and we have a very strong relationship. We've talked about things. You always have to keep certain boundaries, but, we've talked about personal things. We've talked about, life. We've talked about addictions. We've talked about, all kinds of stuff, which at the end of the day, business, making money, security, yeah, that's all good stuff, man. But if you're not healthy, if you're not in a good spot, who cares?
What's the point?
Yeah. And information security to me has always been, and I think that's one of the things we all need to do a better job with, is these aren't specialized skills. There are some specialized skills in information security, but most of what I do is a life skill.
Yeah.
You talk about things like situational awareness. That's the number one thing you can learn in information security, is to understand the situation you're in, whether it be a physical situation or whether it be an electronic situation. So that stuff is, anyway, it just started off because I cared about you and I wanted to talk to you. And then you guys.
Yeah, I think Oscar, you came in about 175.
I looked up the data, that's what it was.
Yeah, 170 something ish, I think, is when I started. And I don't even remember, for me, I think in the beginning I think my first episode may have been, you probably may have seen this, but we were either talking about imposter syndrome or burnout or something like that. I think in the beginning, it was just kind of random where Evan and I would be having a conversation and it's like, here's what we're going to talk about. You want to join? Yeah, I'll hop on there. I'll do that. This will be fun. And I always appreciated the time, the conversations. And I've always appreciated from a content perspective too, it's not always just focused on the tangible security items. It is about a lot of the other things that maybe a lot of us have experienced or suffered from, or challenges that we're facing in the industry today. And it was a really unique perspective for me of just having an honest conversation and really pretending like we're not even recording a lot of the times, right? Just sharing our thoughts and our experiences. And for me, it was almost an hour of therapy, right? Yeah. We're helping each other through therapeutical conversations. And my hopes and goals were that always that our listeners would be influenced and feel those same things and walk away with a positive aspect for maybe something they've been struggling with or a challenge they're dealing with, whether it be psychological, whether it be security-based, whatever it is. I think there was always value that was driven from those conversations.
Yeah, I think you nailed it. The way I view it is we're just sitting down and talking. And that's what we hope the listeners take away is, hey, this is just a chat with friends, and we just happen to be talking about security most of the time.
I mean, and there's no questioning that it's authentic, right? Because, and I think the right people find that really appealing. Just being authentic, what things can I learn? I've been in this industry for a long time. We've all been in this industry for a long time. So, what things can you relate to and take away to make your life better in this industry? I mean, I've seen a lot, unfortunately, over the years. I've had 5 people take their lives, suicide. Nobody talks about suicide. That's like a stigma. Who would want to talk about that? Well, it happens. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so you just address these things that I think are you mentioned imposter syndrome. You hear that all the time. How many people out there have suffered from or are suffering from imposter syndrome? Right? And so why wouldn't we talk about that? If you don't keep imposter syndrome in check, it can be really, really destructive. I never really, because, and I just wrote about this in the blog post. The title of the blog post is Winners Focus on Winning and Losers Focus on Winners. And the point is, a lot of us, I think, suffer from imposter syndrome because we're comparing ourselves. We're looking outside of ourselves on where do I fit in all of this? I have this position. I don't feel qualified for this position because look at that guy over there or that gal over there. She's in this position. She's got her shit together. I don't have my shit together. And that's the vicious cycle, I think, with imposter syndrome, where I don't care what somebody else is doing. My only job, I'm never going to be the best dad. I'm never going to be the best CEO. I'm never going to be the best friend. I'm never going to be the best husband. The only thing I'm guaranteed to be the best at is the best me.
Yep.
So that's what I'm going to focus on.
One thing I try to keep in mind is kind of say practice doesn't make perfect. It makes progression.
Progress. Amen.
So
That's awesome.
So Megan, you've joined, the numbers.
Yeah. Well, I had to look it up because I was like, we're 250 and I've only been doing the podcast for a little over a year now. So 10%, about 25 episodes, but I mean, it's so good to hear Oscar mention that too. It's like casual conversation, and we're a little more structured now. We try to have a topic. We're getting a lot of guests on. We mostly stay on topic when we run the episodes.
That's why you guys kicked me off.
It is definitely more organized now with Megan than it ever was.
And the support of our awesome marketing team too. So, but we still are just having a conversation, and I think one of the things I appreciate about being on the podcast is that we do go beyond information security and we still talk about people. And I think we haven't concretely defined who our audience either because it's kind of just for anybody that wants to listen and might feel like they need the support of a few other people in information security talking about things that are relevant, and that includes personal stuff. And it's been nice to even be able to invite other guests that aren't specifically even talking about information security.
Right. Well, that's the thing. I mean, information security is all about people. It's always about people. People think it's, technology, blah, blah, blah. Nobody cares if nobody suffers, right? If there's a data breach or whatever, if nobody suffers, nobody would give a crap about it. But people do suffer when things go bad. And we use, obviously we use technology. You need to get technical and do those kinds of things. But it's also, we have this problem of people adopting new technology way faster than their ability to use it responsibly. So how do you tackle that? But it's always a people problem. It's not the technology, it's how you use it.
I mean, AI doesn't solve everything.
Well, yeah, it does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, exception of AI. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
that's going to solve everything.
I think that's what I was talking about a little bit earlier too. Is just
I was being facetious in case anybody out there was thinking I actually meant that.
we're hyper focused right now on ease of use and efficiencies, and we're blindly accepting things without thinking about the ramifications, the repercussions, the possible impacts in other ways to the organization today. And so I think it's a very good point to bring up to chat about today. Also, too, before you chime in, I did want to say, like, since you guys have taken over, like, it is so organized. It's so good. You guys are doing such a great job. So I don't know if you guys are listeners of the podcast. If you're not, I recommend tuning in, but you guys deserve a round of applause for what you brought
We
to the
don't
table
tune in
last
and be
year.
like, what are we talking about today?
Yeah,
Try
no,
not to.
that was the majority of the time before Megan joined. It'd be like we joined, and even with you, Oscar, it got a little bit better. But how many times did we go, all right, so what are we going to talk about?
I think when I was running it, at least I would send Brad a note the morning of
Yeah.
and be like, hey, here's a couple topics we're going to try to talk about today.
Yeah.
And that was as organized as we got. But you guys are doing a fantastic job.
I was like, that's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
I think if you have ADHD, you'd really appreciate the earlier episodes because it probably resonated with you. Like with my wife, she's not ADHD, so she has to adapt to all the crazy stuff I do. And so if you're one of those, like my wife would never listen to one of my podcasts because she's like, hell no, man, I got to
We
do with
had
that.
her on once, so she had to listen.
We did do that episode. That's right. I think she just did that because she felt sorry for me.
They both called us out in that, so we decided not to do that again.
That episode, she said, I didn't realize she was keeping track of my hours back then. And she's like, do you know how many hours you work a week? And I'm like, oh, probably a lot, but I don't know. She's 116. I'm like, no, wow, that's bullshit. Yeah. So she's not allowed on the podcast.
So
She's
then
keeping track.
she's doing the work that we try to do here with our audience, with you, and
Yeah.
making sure we're staying balanced. We're focusing on our wellness, our personal health and well-being. So thanks to Mar. If you tune in and listen to this,
Yeah.
thanks, Mar, for keeping
Yeah.
it balanced.
Well, I mean, there's so much, like one of the things I'm learning as I'm progressing in this stage of my career, because no matter what stage of the career you're in, we all started somewhere. So I can relate to what I went through when I started in this career. It'll be different because it's unique to you, but there's some similarities in that. And then there's that middle part of your career where you're trying to establish yourself and you're trying to grow and learn and progress, right? And a lot of us, it's a vertical progression where you want to be a manager or a CISO. When I talk to new people, starting this industry, what do you want to be when you grow up? And it's like always, I want to be a CISO. I'm like, why the hell would you want to do that?
No, you don't.
You have any idea if you knew what you were saying right now, you wouldn't want to do that. But now I'm at this stage of my career where it's like, I feel like I owe it to people to try to share as much wisdom as I've gained over the years. Because the truth of the matter is there's only 3 ways to get wisdom. You can either get it through experience with pain. Don't forget the pain. That's how you get experience. Experience with pain. You can learn it from somebody else. You can take their word for it if you think they're a credible source. Or in my belief system, I can go to God and get wisdom. That's the only way I'm going to do it. And I don't want to avoid pain, and I want other people to avoid pain. So I'm going to try to share as much of what I know. And it's like when you raise kids, they're like, they act like they're listening. They're like, yeah, I get it. And then they go do the stupid shit you just told them not to do.
But I've heard over the years they eventually learn. Mine
But
are
they
still
go through
little,
the
I don't
pain.
know.
It's like, I paid the dump tax. I'm still paying the dump tax.
You bring up a good point, though, and you and I were kind of even chatting about this a few minutes ago. I have so many of those same conversations about what do you want to be? And it's like, I want to be a leader. I want to be a CISO. I want to be a title. I want to be a title, a thing. But for me, I always just ask people, like, what do you love about your job today? Or what do you wish you could do? Like, if you could wake up and choose what you're doing every single day, what would that be, right? And so instead of focusing on, I want the title, I want the thing, focus on yourself and identify what you really enjoy doing and just get really good at that. Make that your career. And then it's just like us, we're a mission before money company. And we say we focus on our mission, our core values, and the money will come. We'll experience the growth. It's the same personally. If you focus on your own personal mission, what is your own personal mission? What impact do you want to have on the world? You're going to find the things you're looking for. And it's probably going to be different than what you thought it was.
And that's great advice too, because that's another way to combat imposter syndrome. When you find your purpose, and if you don't know your purpose, spend time trying to find that purpose, because then I drive towards that purpose and I don't care what anybody else thinks about it.
Well,
I don't care what anybody else thinks, how well I'm doing or not.
I mean, I can speak to that. That's something that I fell into at FRSecure with the title and not knowing and kind of where is it. And it did take some soul searching to say, okay, what are my strengths? What should I be doing? Yeah. And now we found it, and I mean, not to toot my own horn, but I think it's going pretty good.
You're doing great.
You're doing awesome stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, there's so much to learn, and it. I think that's my job now. You know what I mean? Is to try to share that stuff. When we first started the podcast, it was so, like you said, disjointed, because we would spend the first 30 minutes of the podcast, how you doing? And just catching up, and people would comment on the podcast like, can you just get to the damn topic? And I'm like, that was the topic.
That was me. I was like, when are
Were
you
you
going to
that-
talk about something?
Yeah.
Skip ahead.
You hit on something too earlier, like the pain,
Yeah.
as part of wisdom and growth. And I think that's something that's hard for a lot of people to learn. And it even continues to be hard. It never gets easy. But I can say, like, personally, the challenging times I experienced, the pain, the failures, the hardships are the most formative moments of my life. And I don't crave those moments. I don't look for those things to happen. But when I understand that in perspective, it does change how I experience them today. And so I know throughout my years, those pain points were very formative in who I am today. And I'm constantly faced with new challenges. And so having that perspective, it's like, it still hurts. Mm-hmm. It's still really, really hard. But I'm able to have the perspective to understand that this is going to be good. This is hard today. It sucks today. But in the long term, I'm going to benefit and grow. And hopefully all those around me are going to be able to benefit and grow. And hopefully see my examples and how I handle these challenges and let that guide them on their journey throughout what they're trying to be. So it is an essential part of growth and identifying who you are.
Well, and speaking of growth, so Megan, I remember when you started at FRSecure, you went through the CISP mentor program, which, I mentioned that during the, the opening, which was awesome. And then we hired you. And you could tell, I think, from day one that, man, you've got a lot of potential. So if you could share with people kind of a little bit of your journey and maybe what wisdom you can share from when day one to where you're at today. Because I was just talking to Oscar outside.
Yeah.
When I get to see you, I'm like, holy crap, man, she has come so far, and I don't think she realizes how far she's come. So share with us just kind of your journey.
Where to start?
Yeah. And some of the struggles you faced along the way.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would start just even with my prior job, because a number of people in information security have kind of a meandering career start, and that was definitely me because I went to school for art and I'm not doing art now. And even in my one job prior to FRSecure, when I was hired, I'll never forget applying for the job because I read the job description, and I've told this to a few people, and I'm like, they don't know what the crap they want, because they wanted somebody who could do art and JavaScript and this other thing. And I'm like, but I do know a little bit of all of those things. I'm not a master of them, but why not take a chance? And so I took a chance, and I said the same thing to them. I'm like, here's what I can do. Here's who I am. I know a little bit of all of this. And took a chance, and they took a chance on me, and it was awesome. But that was my first IT job, like actually being an IT person.
Wait a second, you didn't have 20 years of security experience?
No. I knew how to design websites, and I had met a server.
All right.
I'm like, that's what that is. Okay. And it was a small company, and they had some kind of light MSP-like support, but they wanted somebody in-house who could know everything, centralize that information, and kind of direct it, because nobody else knew anything about IT. And so over my next 6 years in that job position, I just kept learning. And I learned from the MSP that was trying to fire themselves, because that's not what they did anymore. And I learned from our one contractor guy, because if I didn't know how to do it, then I needed somebody who knew how to do it. And just kept learning. And then after kind of 5 years of this, I mean, after a while, you're kind of like, all right, cool. I know how to do some stuff, but I'm tired of solving problems all by myself, not knowing where does my skill level stack against other IT folk out in the world somewhere. And I wanted to know too that I wasn't going to like lose my job one day and not be able to even keep up with taking care of my family anymore if I did. And so then I was like, well, how do I do this? So I went out and I got first the Network Plus certification, and then I had my eye on the CISSP when I was hanging out in Spiceworks, and Brad posts on there, hey, free mentorship program, CISSP. And I'd already been hunting. It's like, well, at least I know that women are trying to get into cybersecurity. You still can't do that if you have a family. They're like, go away, you can apply. And if you're lucky enough, you can go away to this camp for a month. And I'm like, that's not gonna work for me. I'm the only person that works and takes care of them. So it was perfect. And the fact that you guys were local, I was like, well, how lucky is that? Sometimes fate just knocks on your door. And so I just got to know FRSecure and fell in love with it. And so it's like, I don't know if you remember or not, but it's like, I just brought in my resume one day and I'm like, if he tells me that I have enough work experience to get a CISSP legit, because you have to have 5 years relevant experience, then I'm gonna apply for a job. And I did. And it was awesome. And then at FRSecure, that's where I got mentors. I got to know Brad and Lori and so many other people that took me under their wing, taught me, get to get exposure, just like all of our assessors do right now, right, Melissa? And just like live the security framework. And when you're doing it every day, you learn it really fast. I think that's where imposter syndrome comes in for me. It's like, I like doing the nerdy stuff, but I'm not the brightest person in the room, but I can learn. And so if you can learn, it's like, don't be overwhelmed by that. And I mean, I was on my own personal journey into leadership then too, and I kind of knew it, but I didn't know what it looked like. I had a director title at my prior job, but only because I was the only person that did IT. Right. They're like, congratulations, you're a director.
You're directing yourself.
I directed myself. It was great.
You have such an inspiring story, in my opinion, because just call it what it is, right? We've had a shortage of females in this industry for a long time, from the beginning.
Still do,
yeah. And one of the things I've learned in my own, I'm always growing too, right? I mean, you never stop, and I'm looking for ways to be a better me. And one of the things that I learned, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago, whenever we hired Renee, was the value of other people's perspectives. Like if I want to solve difficult problems, most of the time when I make mistakes, it's because I had shitty context or I was acting out of emotion. And so how do I get better context? We'll seek other perspectives, other viewpoints on the problem. And it was at that time, we had executive meetings every Friday. And it was 4 people with the same damn perspective I have. Mm-hmm. So we never solved anything. And it got so frustrating because I'm like, I'm not coming to any more of these damn meetings. Even though it's my meeting, I'm not coming anymore. We need to get a different perspective. And so we hired Renee. And it was like instant. And here's the thing, like it's not about gender. It's not about race. It's not about any of that. It's about a different perspective. So you can be the same race as me. You can be the same gender as me. But I grew up in suburban America. I grew up on military bases. You know what I mean? If you grew up in the inner city, well, that's a different perspective. And so one of the things that's been awesome is the appreciation of what that's, because I thought that, but you proved it out. Other people not like me proved it out, like Oscar. Oscar's from Kentucky. I don't even know where the hell Kentucky is. I'm from Mexico now, but a different perspective, right? So that's the value, because I think when you sell people out, you sell them short. I'm going to hire this person because that's the DEI thing, right? When they screw it up, the right way to do it is I value the perspective. I value what they bring to the table. I don't value the surfacey bullshit. And when you embrace that, then people like you take off.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Love Megan's story and her journey to get here. It's inspirational to me, and it should be inspirational to everybody. And just for perspective, before I ever met you, you were training Pinky on an assessment, and he was taught. And Pinky's a long-term friend of mine. We've known each other for 20 years. And he's like, holy crap, have you met Megan yet? I'm like, no. He's like, she is so smart. She is so good at her job. And I'm like, hell yeah, I can't wait to meet her. But one thing you said, like, that really hits a nerve for me, and I believe is just crucial to your development and everyone's, is like an openness to learn.
Yeah.
Right? And I think this goes to even Evan's point of perspective, where that's when we fail ourselves and each other, is we get to a point and we think that we know everything. There's nothing more to learn. And then your perspective becomes dulled. No one wants to hear your perspective anymore. And then the other challenge with like people that get close is they don't want to freely share information with each other anymore. Right. There's this gatekeeping that exists in our industry, and it's poisonous.
Yeah.
But I really love hearing, like, I wanted to be the person like with an openness to learn. And I think that's one thing that's important for all of us. Like, we're never going to know everything. Right. We have to be, if we want to be the best security practitioners, we have to continually be learning every single day and be open to hear those perspectives of everyone around you, because regardless of who you are, where you're from, we have a different set of experiences in our life. And I think that knowledge is just a culmination of all the experiences that we have throughout our lifetimes, right? And we all have valuable knowledge. But if you close yourself off because of someone's, race, sex, where they're from, their socioeconomic status, you're really just ruining yourself.
Well, take the same thing. So in this perspective, we're talking about management, right? And stuff like that. But take the same thing to a practitioner, right? If I want to be the best CISO I can be, you better understand perspective. Yeah. You're consulting the business to make these great risk decisions, right? And I don't know what it's like to be in marketing. I don't know what it's like. I don't know the hassle that you're complaining about with the multi-factor authentication for the accounting person. I don't know what that feels like. But if you really want to solve the damn problem, you better get the perspective and value it. Don't call them stupid users.
Yeah. So we could obviously keep
going. I forgot you're over here. How you doing?
I know. I'm just trying to get your attention. So we are
Brad,
up on
right?
time.
Brad?
So we'll do. Did you notice the shirt? They put. Thanks, marketing. Really quick, we do need to wrap it up. So gratitudes.
I'm going to go. Thanks to you too. I mean, it's the obvious easy one today, but you guys have done such an amazing job the last year with the Unsecurity podcast. I've listened to the episodes recently. I'm extremely impressed and happy. And also, you both just do such a great job. So thank you both for keeping this alive. And I hope in a couple years we're celebrating the 500th episode and then the 1000th episode and so on. So thank you both.
I'll thank Oscar also for pushing me to do it. I think the first time he was like, I was like, I could see myself being on Unsecurity podcast, but give me some time. And he's like, no, you're doing the next episode. I'm like, okay.
Let's just pull the Band-Aid off.
Right.
And you did great.
We did fine. And just thank you to our awesome marketing team, because just appreciate their support so much, because we get busy. It wouldn't be as organized as we would be if we didn't have our regular calls and check-ins and everything. So appreciate all the work that they do.
Yeah, shout out to, I'm repeating, but shout out to you guys, because you inspire me, you know what I mean? In management, there's two things about being, I guess, the boss, if you want to call it that. It's the wind blows the strongest at the top of the mountain, and it's lonely at the top of the mountain. You know what I mean? You're looking for places to be inspired, to be motivated to do things. And I know each one of your personal stories. I know how deep it runs. There's nothing I wouldn't do for you guys if you knew the story. So, Oscar, ask him about his story. He'd love to share it with you because you're going to find so much inspiration prior to him starting at FRSecure and just the crazy, amazing things you do. When you see him for what he can do, dude hasn't even scratched the surface yet. I used to refer to him as the version 2 of me. Not like less bugs, more features, but he's not even a version of me. He's like his own version that just kicks ass. You, holy shit. I was talking to Oscar, like I said, outside, and I was like, man, the progression that you have made, because we talk about, we have our one-on-ones, me and Oscar, and we talk about the team. We talk about how things are going, what things are, people are struggling with, and you have come so far. And talk to her about her story. It's inspiring. We're all looking for hope and inspiration, especially in those days where it's just like, what's the use? They don't fucking listen to me. Excuse my language, I swear too much. And then this guy, we have spent so much time starting that first episode when I just got to spend an hour a day with you. I've gotten to know him deeply, and we've shared so many amazing stories, and I know the struggles he's been through and how you've navigated these things from the time you thought you wanted to be this when, we had to be honest, you fit better here. And just the perspective and the way you navigated that and how you come out the other side being the best version of you could be. And I'm so proud of that. So huge thanks to you guys, man. It means the world to me.
I think we need to give this whole crew a big round of applause for an amazing podcast today.
I was just going to say my gratitude very quickly. Thank you to the listeners. There you go.
Y'all are amazing. Thank you again.